So your target merchant types for payment links are going to be any merchant wishing to accept payments via website, right? Or unless, of course, they are wanting a shopping cart and then you want to move them on over to Storefront. And if you need any additional information on MX Storefront, please email myself or the product team and we'll get that information over to you. So payment links exist within the settings tab. Again, it's not an app, so that may be why you or your merchant haven't considered it. So within the settings tab, you can choose to go to payment links. This is the way that the tab looks within the MX merchant. So you can choose to add a custom field, and basically what you're doing is you're coming through and choosing what fields need to be entered as part of the payment information, and you can choose which ones you want to be required, as you notice here, and then you actually add the payment link. So this is first just giving us a view of of those custom fields we've already set up and our payment links, but let's go through what that looks like. So when you choose to create a custom field of what you want to be added as part of the payment information to be received from the customer, you'll choose the field type if it's text, yes, no, number, decimal list. So quite a bit of information can be obtained. I haven't seen, I'm sure we're going to be asked this question. I'm sure there's an infinite amount of custom fields that you can add. I really haven't seen a stoppage number on that. But you wouldn't want to do that because then you're probably less likely to get that payment. So, you want to keep those fields, right, to what really makes sense, to what the merchant needs for their business, right? And then additional fields can be added in as well. And then once that's completed, that's then going to give you really two options. You can choose to use the URL, and that means that you can then redirect your customers to a new page entirely outside of your website to make a payment. Or you can paste the coding here that we provide to embed it in the website. Means that you'll really just need to have whoever manages their website, right, add this HTML code to an object within their existing website so they have a link to a button, right, that someone can actually click to make a payment. So this will allow the customers to make that payment without leaving the URL. So really they have those two different options. Well, what does that look like? So we have both. Here is the URL example, and this is very similar to what it's going to look like if they choose to actually have it redirected. And then if the HTML example, this is what it's going to look like if they just plug in that coding. And I think this is great because it really shows the difference between the two different payment screens. And that may help decide or help the merchant decide which route they go, right, is based off of those two different payment screens. So when you're talking to merchants, these are the screens you want to use to show them, right, as to exactly what they can expect depending on which coding they choose to use. Okay. So again, this is for folks who are wanting to accept payments on their website, nothing too fancy, right? If they're wanting something a little fancier, that's when we want to start talking about MX Storefront, especially if they don't already have a web presence. And even if they do, they can actually insert their existing URL into MX Storefront. So keep that in mind.